Hello and welcome to this video playing Perama. Hey ho, let's go. Yeah, it's an interesting line. I recently looked at this briefly, I have to admit. If he knows things here, then that's bad news. Because I don't really claim detailed knowledge. It's an interesting twist to the exchange variation. Let's see what he plays now. It's an important choice. Yeah, it's not easy to play e6 here. Okay, I'm threatening queen b3 now, which is quite typically ignored. I thought I'm threatening it. And d5 is just hanging, right? How do I take that? With the queen or with the knight? With the knight, maybe bishop e6 stuff. So let's take it with the queen. And it will be an immediate queen trade. Yeah, you cannot really avoid it. Okay, queen c8. That is a really strange move. Okay, yeah, I'm just taking, I guess. And rook c1. Yeah. Yeah, just want a big center pawn. The Slav exchange is it's a really underrated line. The problem sometimes with those lines is similar to the French exchange. It has a really bad reputation as being, I know, boring and whatever, and also some people think that it's a bad line. Like the problem is there is a fair amount of, or there are many players who play it with white, the Slav exchange, to somehow like play in a scared fashion for a draw against a better player. This is of course, yeah, this is plain stupid. You can just, yeah, you just have a very decent, solid game if you try for something, and you can always pose problems. It's really not that easy to play for black in the exchange. You have to know some stuff, and I mean, my own experience is that with white, if you know what you're doing, you're never losing. I mean, you have to do really stupid stuff to lose, and I have won, I mean, tons of games in the exchange Slav over the years while never losing one. Sometimes I even won quickly, yeah, because they kind of didn't know how to handle queen b3 lines and so on. Yeah, and here black resigned after 17 moves. Yeah, the bishop g5 line is an interesting little twist to the exchange. They normally develop the knight or play bishop f4. Normally, this is the standard setup. Bishop g5 is different, obviously, as it asks black yeah, an important question. How are you going to develop your king side without allowing a double pawn? This is actually one of the main continuations, that black simply allows the pawn to be doubled. Just play this, and after the capture, black may also take with the e-pawn. We have a pretty unique pawn structure, which you don't see in the exchange all that often. Here I think white has reasonable chances for a small advantage, as the black pawn structure is very inflexible. There are actually some implications here that are not that obvious. For example, if you imagine white plays on the queen side very long term, imagine white plays normal moves, like develop slowly, and then at some point you're going for a3, b4, knight a4, the typical queen side play. If you do that in other lines of the exchange, if you put lots of pieces on the queen side, you have to reckon with e5 quite often, a counter push in the center. And this is not easy to do for black here in this structure. In particular, if you take into account that very often black will play f5 quite soonish, because an opening of the position with e4 is often undesirable. So this is actually a quite complex structure, interesting to play, and I think white has a small pool. Okay, he played in this way, which is possible, of course, and now I have to say I'm basically out of theory. I know that this is a position. They often play knight f6 in this position and transpose to the structures that I showed. Bishop f5, I mean, cannot be terrible, but I'm not exactly sure about the theoretical state. This one, what I know is a6 is probably not great, I would assume. Queen b3. And the engine actually thinks black can make a sacrifice out of this, which I don't believe. Knight f6, this is the engine's line. I mean, at least black's got some open files. And now queen to b6. Okay, that is not very obvious for a human. I cannot take f5 because of this. I mean, okay, engine says equal, but you still don't want that. But if I go here, is that full compensation? It's tough to believe. It's got a bit of compensation. b3 is weak, but it doesn't win it, huh? Yeah, I mean, that is not a position that you go for voluntarily as black. After queen d7, queen d5, I think it's just over, basically. Rook c1, yeah, and you're just suffering. I think knight d5 is a bit better in comparison than knight d3, but I would have played knight e2. Just, I don't want any structural concession. If you keep the pawn structure intact here, you should fairly easily go into conversion of the extra pawn. Yeah, this is losing even more time. Knight e5 now, and okay, f6 is not a happy move. But yeah, king d2, bishop g6, and knight d5 is just curtains. And here black resigned. Here you have nothing developed, and you're losing even more material. Yeah, the exchange Slav, it's not a bad line. I don't think there's anything wrong with it in terms of trying to play for an advantage. You always have to keep in mind that white doesn't have much in a regular Slav anyway. Yeah, if you play a complex main line, black is also going to equalize. Okay guys, thanks for watching.